The gentle waves rocked the boat as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting an orange glow over the endless sea. Amelia leaned on the wooden railing, her mind racing. This was supposed to be a relaxing getaway, but the presence of Ethan, the man she'd secretly loved for years, made her heart pound with nervous anticipation. Ethan was everything Amelia could have ever wanted: tall, confident, with a rugged charm that made her weak in the knees. They had been friends since childhood, but she had never confessed her feelings to him. Now, on this private boat in the middle of the ocean, she couldn't help but wonder if this trip could change everything. The salty breeze played with Amelia's hair, making her feel free yet constrained by the invisible barrier that always seemed to exist between her and Ethan. She stole glances at him as he steered the boat, his muscles flexing under the soft cotton of his shirt. Every movement of his body stirred something deep within her. As night fell, the stars began to twinkle above them, creating a magical, almost ethereal atmosphere. Amelia sat at the bow, lost in thought, when she felt Ethan's presence beside her. He handed her a glass of wine, his fingers brushing hers. The electricity between them was palpable, and her breath hitched. "Are you okay?" Ethan asked, his deep voice cutting through the sound of the waves. His eyes were searching hers, filled with a mixture of concern and curiosity. Amelia nodded, but her body betrayed her. The warmth spreading through her cheeks made her want to confess everything right then and there. The moon was full, casting a soft light over the ocean. It felt like they were in another world, away from the realities that kept them apart. Ethan sat closer now, his thigh barely touching hers. The tension was undeniable, and Amelia could feel her pulse quickening. "I've been meaning to talk to you about something," Ethan said, his voice lower than usual. He turned his body toward her, his eyes intense. Amelia's heart raced as she tried to read his expression. Could this be the moment she had been waiting for? Before she could answer, a strong wave hit the boat, causing them both to lurch forward. Amelia found herself pressed against Ethan's chest, her face inches from his. For a second, they just stared at each other, the air thick with unspoken desire. Ethan's hands rested on her hips, steadying her. Amelia could feel the warmth of his body seeping through her clothes, the closeness, making her dizzy with longing. She bit her lip, trying to steady herself, but the weight of her feelings was too much to bear. Without thinking, she leaned forward and pressed her lips against his. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Then Ethan responded, his mouth moving against hers with a passion that took her breath away. The kiss was deep, intense, filled with years of suppressed emotions. Amelia's fingers tangled in his hair as she pulled him closer, their bodies now fully pressed together. She could feel the rise and fall of his chest as his hands slid up her back, sending shivers down her spine. The sound of the ocean faded as their kiss deepened. Ethan pulled back slightly, his breath ragged. "I've wanted this for so long," he whispered, his forehead resting against hers. Amelia's heart skipped a beat at his confession. She had always wondered if he felt the same way, and now it was out in the open. "Me too," she breathed, her voice barely a whisper. The admission felt like a weight lifting off her shoulders. She gazed into his eyes, seeing a mixture of desire and vulnerability that mirrored her own. They had crossed a line, and there was no going back. Underscore 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 underscore. The boat rocked gently, as if cradling them in the moment. Ethan's hands slid down her sides, brushing against the hem of her shirt. He hesitated for a second, seeking her permission with his eyes. Amelia gave a small nod, her body aching for his touch. Slowly, Ethan lifted her shirt over her head, revealing her bare skin to the cool night air. His gaze was intense as he took in the sight of her, and Amelia felt a thrill of excitement run through her. She reached for him, pulling him closer until their lips met again. This time, the kiss was slower, more deliberate. Ethan's hands roamed her body, exploring every curve as if he were committing her to memory. Amelia felt her skin tingle under his touch, the sensation overwhelming yet perfect. She pushed him back gently, guiding him down onto the cushioned seat of the boat. The night sky above them seemed to spin as their passion took over. Amelia straddled him, her fingers tracing the lines of his jaw, his neck, down to his chest. Ethan's hands gripped her hips as she leaned down, their lips meeting once again. This time, the kiss was more heated, their bodies moving in sync as the boat gently swayed beneath them. The connection between them was undeniable, and Amelia knew there was no turning back. As their movements grew more frantic, Amelia could feel the heat rising between them. Her body ached for him, and she could tell by the way he held her that he felt the same. The sensation of being this close to him, in such an intimate way, was almost too much to bear. Amelia's lips trailed down Ethan's neck, tasting the salt of his skin. Her breath was hot against his chest as she kissed her way lower, feeling his body tense beneath her touch. Ethan groaned softly, his hands tingling in her hair. The sound of the ocean became a distant hum as Amelia's lips found their way lower, her hands working in tandem to tease and excite. She could feel the tension in his body building, every muscle taut with anticipation. Ethan's breathing grew heavier as Amelia's lips moved across his abdomen, her fingers tracing the waistband of his shorts. She paused, looking up at him through hooded eyes, waiting for him to give her the sign. His hands tightened around her, urging her to continue. Slowly, she lowered herself, her mouth finding its way to his most sensitive spot. Ethan let out a deep, guttural sound, his fingers gripping the edges of the seat. Amelia moved with purpose, her movements slow and deliberate, savoring every moment of their connection. The night air was thick with tension as their bodies moved together in perfect harmony. Amelia could feel the heat rising in her own body, the electric energy between them growing with each passing second. She didn't stop, wanting to bring him closer to the edge. Ethan's body tensed, his hands gripping her shoulders as he reached the brink. Amelia felt a surge of satisfaction, knowing she had brought him to this point. Her lips moved faster, more determined now, as the boat swayed beneath them, rocking in rhythm with their passion. With a final, shuddering breath, Ethan released, his body convulsing with pleasure. Amelia didn't stop until he was completely spent, and even then, she lingered for a moment, savoring the taste of their shared experience. As she moved back up to him, their eyes met, and for a moment, they just stared at each other, breathless and content. Ethan pulled her close, their bodies entwined as they lay back on the seat, the boat gently rocking them in the night. "I love you," Ethan whispered, his voice barely audible. Amelia's heart soared at the words, and she knew she felt the same. She had always loved him, but hearing him say it out loud made everything feel real. "I love you too," she whispered back, her fingers tracing circles on his chest. They lay there in silence, the ocean their only witness as they drifted into a peaceful sleep.